It was late afternoon in a quiet back room, sunlight pushing through dusty blinds. You sat at a scarred wooden table, those old insults echoing in your mind. Camera close, your pen dragged slow, scratching every wound on the paper sheets. Worthless fraud, nothing special. Every word that once knocked you to your knees. You didn't flinch at what you wrote, didn't deny, didn't plead for spin. You just laid those judgments flat like dead snakes shed of their sin. Some battles ain't fist or fire, sometimes it's sinking spine. Sometimes you don't argue with the past, you just lay it down on the line. That was the day you walked on the words that once crushed you, turned every insult into pavement beneath your boots. Didn't tear them up, didn't burn them to ash, just stood atop them like living proof. From the stones they threw to break you, you built a road you could ride. Cause a man who steps on his past pain is a man the world can't pin inside. Later that night by the old barn door, moonlight smearing silver on the ground. You spread those pages across the dirt like a path that wanted to be found. Camera wide, you step forward slow, heel grinding each word into earth and dust. Every footfall sounding like a verdict, your judgment don't define me, I do. Then you knelt and pressed your palm to the soil, a quiet ritual between heart and land. You whispered, thank you for the bruises they hardened the shell of this man. And the wind drifted through the grass, carrying those papers like white ghosts gone. But you didn't chase a single one, their power had already withdrawn. Souls don't need shouting, they just need standing tall. You don't erase your history, you rise above it all. There was a day you walked on the words that once crushed you, didn't drown in shame. You stepped on through, let every letter crumble under heel, turned every scar into something real. You didn't need revenge, didn't need a crowd, just needed your breath steady and proud. Now when they try to throw old stones, they just add bricks to your throne. There was a day you walked on the words that once crushed you, and it changed the ground you walk upon. Cause a man who learns to stand on his pain becomes the road that carries him on. Cold courage, quiet pride, and a soul made of unbroken bone. Only light was a cold glow of a cigarette. I sat in the corner where the shadows gather, like wolves that know every regret. Camera closed, my face half lit, eyes fixed on something only I could see. It wasn't a ghost, wasn't a demon in horns, it was the ugly part of me. He grinned at me from inside my chest, spoke with my voice but twisted mean. You ain't changed at all, boy, you're still weak and unclean. I didn't shout back, didn't throw a fit, didn't fight like thunder, fall like stone. Cause sometimes you kill a monster by giving it nothing to chew on. That was the night I fought the dog inside, didn't The loudest weapon I ever found was a quiet I held like a blade. Cause a man who conquers his own mind is a beast the world can't shake, 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 shake. Later I stood in front of the cracked old mirror, where the devil in me loved to grin. I stared at him without flinch or tremor. I said, I ain't yours no more, you ain't kin. Camera tight, breath fogging the glass, my reflection wavering like a worn out lie. The demon hissed back from inside my skull, you need me? And I said, no, I don't, not tonight. Then I reached for the Bible with a dusty cover, not as a saint, but as a man tied of chains. I didn't pray for angels or miracles, just whispered, let this darkness drain. I pressed my palm to the mirror like holding my own throat still, and the monster's voice got smaller until I couldn't hear its will. Some wars ain't fought with bullets, they're fought with breath and calm. And sometimes the deadliest thing you can do is refuse to play along. That was the night I fought the dark inside. Watched it starve when I stopped feeding the tide. Didn't burn it out, just let it suffocate under the weight of a soul awake. Now when the old devil comes whispering, I don't panic, I don't break. I just sit back with that same cold quiet that taught him fear for his own sake. Cause the man who masters his own mind is the kind hell itself won't test. I didn't slay the demon, I forced it to die in silence. That was the night I fought the dark inside and came out calm and dangerous. It was sundown behind the house I grew up in. Cicadas buzzing like electric sin. I walked out back with a shovel in hand, like a man going to war with the ghost of who I've been. Camera close, mud on my boots, rain clouds hanging heavy on the wire. I knelt by a dead patch of stubborn earth where the weak part of me would finally expire. In my fist a folded paper scrap, a tombstone smaller than a fist. Scrolled on it, the man I used to be, the one full of doubt, the one I won't miss. Some pains can't be healed, some wounds ain't meant to mend. Sometimes you don't fix the past, you just bring it to its end. That was the day I buried the old skin, laid to rest the coward I carried within, covered him up with dirt and rain, and rose like a blade born from pain. Some truths don't need a bell. Some truths don't need a bell. Midnight came like a silent witness, storm clouds breaking like a choir of knives. I stood up and let the thunder judge me like a sinner standing where lightning arrives. Camera wide, the rain came pouring, cold baptism down my spine. I washed my hands in heaven's runoff, let the old blood rinse off like brine. I said aloud to the empty yard, I'm done answering to that man and the wind, like an honest preacher carried back, then stand 'cause you can. I looked at that mound of fresh earth, not with mourning but relief. That version of me was a dying branch, and I finally shook it off the tree. You can't drag every ghost behind you. Some deserve a simple grave, and sometimes killing the weak inside is the only way the strong is saved. That was the day I buried the old skin, put a shovel through doubt and sin, left him down where the worms can die, and walked away with a straighter spine. And didn't need flowers or a marker stone, didn't need mercy or a hymn. There ain't no mourning for a self that died when the death is the victory within. Now when the storm clouds gather, I don't tremble, I don't flinch, 'cause the man that stands here now ain't the one I had to bury inch by inch. That was the day I buried the old skin. And I ain't digging it up again. Morning in a gas station light, sun burning holes in a sand-colored sky. He leaned on the hood of a rusted Ford, hands in pockets, calm in the eye. Camera close, a man stepped up with a smirk like a badge of doubt. He asked, "Why'd you do it that way? What the hell is that about?" Once he would've spilled his thoughts, drawn maps of reasons, begged to be understood, but this time he just shrugged slow and said, "Because I wanted to." And he didn't add a single word, didn't dress it in sugar or guilt, 'cause a sturdy soul don't jog for applause, he walks at the pace he's built. That was the day he stopped explaining himself, stopped running circles for someone else, didn't justify, solid spirit, don't need subtitles. The tone in his voice is enough. When you know your reason in your own bones, you don't owe a damn thing but your because. Later that evening by a diner booth, neon humming like electric snake, a friend leaned in with curious eyes, wanting answers he could take. He asked, "You sure you know what you're doing? You ain't worried how folks may see?" He just lit a cigarette, exhaled slow, and said, "Their view don't govern me." Camera wide, the smoke rose lazy, floating up to the old tin fan. No anger, no arrogance, no fire, just the calm of a grounded man. He tapped dash in the tray like a verdict, and the silence said more than talk. In that quiet he carried a power that made every question just walk. The world takes time to accept a man who's done begging to be seen, but when you judge yourself true, no other judge stays mean. That was the day he stopped explaining himself, closed the book don't shout for permission. He follows his compass alone. Some choices ain't for public court, they're carved in marrow and bone. And if heaven or hell ever asks him again for a reason, a motive, a plea, he'll answer the same outlaw sentence: because I wanted to. That's enough for me. That's enough for me. Stopped explaining, and the day he walked into his own skin. It was 9:30 in the old back kitchen, where the floor still creaked like broken vows. Stood in the doorway, not quite leaving, just waiting to see if I'd cry or bow. Camera close, her hand on the frame, like she owned the weight of the moment. No tears, no plea, no fight in the air, just a stillness thick as atonement. Once I would have chased her shadow, begged for one more night in a flame, but I just turned away to the sink in the window and let silence carry the blame. Some goodbyes don't need breath or sound, some ends ain't a storm, they're a fate. When your heart's done begging, it's done being afraid. There was a night I let her go without words, didn't wrestle the moment, didn't cling or curse. The door closed soft like a final prayer, and I knew freedom was walking right there. I didn't need an echo or a last embrace, just let the quiet ride its line. 'Cause sometimes the loudest goodbye you'll ever say is the kind you speak by being fine. Later that night in the lantern's glow, I sat on the back steps breathing slow. Took the locket she once gave me, cold metal warm from years of hold. Camera tight, I set it on the wood rail, didn't break it, didn't burn it black, just left it there for the wind to claim. No rage, no taking it back. I whispered to the empty yard, I ain't yours to keep anymore. And the night, like a no-wise witness, took those words and engraved them in the floor. I didn't curse her name or rewrite the story, didn't make myself the hero or villain. I just realized love can rot in the cage, and some hearts need a different ceiling. Some folks think closure comes in talk or tears, but real closure happens when you've healed inside. When you don't need their explanation, just a future with nothing to hide. That was the night I let her go without words. Let silence settle where the truth occurred. Didn't beg for meaning or for one last spark. Just walked away from the echo and the dark. I didn't lose her, I just stopped holding on. Stopped worshiping what was already gone. And if it heard that quiet break, it must have nodded at the clean escape. Now when I think of her, I don't bleed, I just breathe steady and slow. 'Cause that was the night I let her go without words. And that was the night I reclaimed my soul. It was noon in a dusty courthouse hall, ceiling fans spinning slow as fate. I stood there staring at a man in a suit who dangled crumbs like he owned my weight. Camera tight, his smirk was polished, boots clean and soft like silver light. He said, just play along, son, bow your head, and I'll make your future right. I looked down for half a second, just long enough to taste the old shame. Then I lifted my chin like drawing steel and said, Lord, I don't beg for my own name. Sometimes pride ain't poison, sometimes it's the only lifeline left. And I'd rather starve on my feet than eat their scraps on my knees. There was the day I refused to kneel, didn't sell my soul for a cheap ass deal. Let the chance slip through like sand in hand, but I kept my heart like a man should stand. Yeah, dignity's a lonely crown to bear, but it shines truer than gold. I didn't take the bite of their easy bread, I walked away with my backbone bold. Later that night in a rundown chapel, I lit a candle by a weathered cross. I didn't pray for luck or mercy, just whispered thanks for what I didn't lose. Camera wide, shadows tall behind me, light flickering like a truth on trial. I said to myself, if I kneel today, I won't stand again for a long while. I remember my father saying, son, men ain't measured by what they take, but by what they refuse. And those words hit like thunder in a sky that never knew excuse. So I took that candle smoke like a blessing, let it trail through the cracks of the roof, and I walked out steady into the night with silence as my proof. 'Cause strength my spirit for their gain. I traded comfort for respect, and I'd make that trade again. Yeah, I lost the chance they flaunted, but I kept the right to look myself in the eye. I'd rather stand alone in a barren field than kneel beneath the crooked sky. If heaven watched me in that hall, it saw a man who chose his stance. Not pride for pride's sake, just a soul that don't sell on chance. There was the day I refused to kneel, and that's the day I walk free. It was 3:07 in a trailer room silence, moonlight sneaking through busted blinds. You sat by that cracked old dresser mirror where you'd measure yourself by other folks' minds. Camera tied, your eyes looked haunted by every scoff, every shrug, every stare. Live like a man on trial for existing, with a jury that had never played fair. You asked yourself in a voice barely spoken, is my own word about me not enough? And for the first time in your damn life, the question hit like iron and rough. You don't need 12 strangers to weigh your worth, though the crowd did not and approve. The only verdict that matters is the one you decide to choose. That was the night you became your own judge, stopped bowing to the court of public view, didn't beg for pardon or validation, cause the only sentence came from you. You looked yourself dead in the mirror and said, I'm done shaking for their eyes. That was the night you set yourself free, when your own truth became the prize. You washed your hands like a ritual rite, not of guilt, but of letting go of their oversight. Camera wide, steam on the mirror, your silhouette taller than before. You touched the glass and said quiet, I forgive you for kneeling before. You weren't talking to God or the devil, just speaking to the man inside the frame, the one who chased applause and approval and forgot to claim his own name. Then you took that judgment hammer nobody knew was in your chest, and you struck it down on the table of fate with a simple verdict: I am enough, the rest is noise. Some chains aren't forged of metal, they're forged of eyes and whispers and doubt. But the moment you stop listening, the walls all crumble out. To breathe or to rise, didn't need a witness to testify. True freedom ain't a choir singing, it's one voice, you're saying I'm fine. And when the world still tries to weigh you, you just nod and step outside the line. Now whether they cheer you or curse you, you dignity, and her soul finally seen. It was late afternoon in a sunburned bar. Old jukebox rolling out a whiskey hymn. She walked in slow, eyes sharp as glass, like she still owned every bruise on him. Camera close, her hand on my shoulder, a half smile like a blade in velvet. She said, soft like a trick she used before. You still remember me, don't you? I leaned back, let the silence breathe, let the moments settle like dust on boots. And I spoke with a grin carved in iron. No, I don't, and I don't need to. You could see it hit like thunder without sound. Her charm slid off me like oil on stone. 'Cause once you know your worth, nobody gets to call you own. That's the day she lost her power over me. When I didn't flinch at a memory, didn't chase the ghost she thought I'd fear, didn't kneel to the echo of her name. She wasn't the fire, I learned she was just smoke. And I walked out of that cage unchained. When a man sees his value in the cold daylight, their seduction turns to dust in the rain. Later that night, I sat on the front porch rail, moon hanging like a lantern in the black. I took that old photo from my wallet, the one where I once looked like I died to have her back. Camera tight, I held it to the flame of a match, watched it curl and blacken with a soft sigh. Not an act of hate, just the funeral of a lie. I whispered to the night, I'm done bowing to the past. And the wind carried it like scripture through the fields of shattered glass. I looked up, half tired, half amused, and I swear I heard my own voice inside say, son, you didn't lose her, you just found yourself. Some folks think freedom comes from winning them back, but real freedom's learned by letting go. When you stop begging for their shadow, you finally get to stand in your own glow. That's the day she lost her power over me. When her gaze didn't throw me off the road, didn't look for apology, didn't hunt for blame, just let history rust and erode. She wasn't thunder, I learned she was just noise, a storm I'd already outgrown. When a man stands tall Not because she changed, but because I did. It was 1:30 in a run-down room where the sing dripped slow and the nights ran long. He stood bare-chested before the mirror like a fighter who'd lived through every wrong. Camera tight, eyes tight but steady, fist marked up from fights he didn't start. They called him dog ghost, nobody knows names, branded shallow on his heart. But that night he reached for a marker pen, shaking just a bit in the neon gloom. And like a man speaking scripture to his future, he wrote his real damn name across the glass of that room. Sometimes salvation ain't whispered from heaven, it's carved where you can be whole. There's a night he cleaned his own name and left every insult on the floor. Lyra didn't answer to the chains they built for, didn't bow to their smoke or dust. A name ain't given, a name is taken by the man who stands and declares. And when they call the old names after that night, he just walked on like it was someone else they were calling there. Next morning in the diner by the highway, old timer sipping coffee, boots muddy with mouths. One man smirked and called the tainted nickname, expecting the same old flinch and denial. Camera close, he didn't even turn, just kept stirring his cup slow as sin. And someone asked, you ain't answering him. He said, that ain't my name, ain't never been. Later that evening by the dirt road cross, he took that marker and a battered old Bible. He underlined his name in both places like a man signing the end of survival. He whispered low to the wind, no man names me but me. And the wind echoed back through the fields of night like a vow setting the past free. You could feel the shift in the world when a soul stops begging for words. Ain't no church choir louder than a man reborn on this earth. That's the night he claimed his own name, lit a fire that no storm could drown. Didn't need a witness, didn't need applause. Truth don't ask for a crown. A name ain't the word that others spit at you, it's the one you speak in the dark. And when he saw himself in that mirror glass, he saw a man with an iron heart. And now when they call him what they used to, he don't turn, don't twitch, don't hear. 'Cause the one who learns to name himself ain't owned by anybody's sneer. That's the night he claimed his own name, and that damn name answered back. 13 on a frostbit night, in a motel room with a flickering light. Floorboard crack, heater half dead, and a shadow crawling on the wall like dread. Camera close, my breath and steam, hands clenching like I'm bracing for a dream. Fear sat quiet in an old wood chair, staring at me like it paid the fare. I look right at that nameless beast, not a blink, not a single sway. I said, you've been chasing me for years, and stood up slow and whispered, not today. I felt my past like ice on my spine, but the thing about fear is it's a sign. Ain't a wall, ain't a curse, ain't a chain, it's just a compass pointing through the pain. I turn fear into a compass, let it steer my stride. Walk straight toward the thing I used to hide. Didn't tremble, didn't stutter, didn't pray to be saved. I just met the dark like a man unafraid. Fear ain't for running, it's for following through. It leads you to the truth you already knew. Yeah, I didn't kill fear, I made it lead the way, and I ain't looked back since that frozen day. I reached for the mirror by the broken sink, glass baked red from a cut lip drink. Looked my reflection right in the eye, saw a boy turn man who refused to die. I asked him, what the hell you waiting on? He said, back you to quit running, son. It wasn't God's voice, wasn't devil's either, it was mine. Standing taller, clearer, camera wide. I pulled my coat, stepped outside where the cold wind wrote a scripture in the dirt and snow, a path only the brave will go. And I followed it, not because it felt right, but because it scared the hell out of me that night. If you quit denying, every tremor's a truth. You ain't been trying, I didn't outrun that breath-stealing shiver. I learned to walk with it like a blood-borne river. I turned fear into a compass, let it draw the line, point me straight where I used to decline. Didn't bow to the shadows or beg for the dawn, just walk where the fear said I belong. Fear ain't the enemy, it's the torch in the cave, and I'm done letting courage be something I save now. When the dark comes, I don't back away, I step into it first and let fear show the way. And if heaven or hell is watching me roam, they see a man who found direction in the unknown. I once tried to kill fear, now I let it guide me, and it's led me to places I was born to be. I turned fear into compass, and that's how I got free. June, storm over the plain, thunder stomping like a drunk old mule. You stood there alone by the busted windmill, rain hitting hard, cold enough to be cruel. Camera close, your coat soaked through, hair plastered down, boots heavy with mud. You wrap both arms around yourself and let the sky baptize you in flood. No friend's voice, no hand on your shoulder, just that hard wind out through the wire. And you muttered, ain't nobody coming. Then louder, I don't need no one to tie. That's when it clicked, not in the heaven, but somewhere deep in your chest. Pain ain't always the enemy, sometimes it's just a test. You became your own shelter, stood against the storm, didn't beg for mercy, didn't bend or fall. You held yourself like a man built a storm, with a heart forged in the cold. Strongest ain't the ones with someone to lean on, it's the ones who whisper, "I save me." And when the sky cracked open like a judgment day, you didn't flinch, you just let it be. Later that night in the barn's dim glow, you lit a match to dry your clothes. The flame caught slow on a scrap of wood, and you watched its orange bones rise and pose. You took that old cross from your pocket, the one your mother gave at 17. For years you asked heaven for rescue, now you just asked heaven to watch what you sing. You said soft into the smoke, I ain't waiting on saviors no more. Then you drove that cross into the dirt floor, like staking down a promise you swore. Camera wide, shadows stretching long, your silhouette big as a mountain's face. You weren't afraid of being alone, you were claiming your rightful place. It's a holy thing, that decision, when you stop asking why me and start saying hell, who else but me? That's when a soul walks free. You became your own shelter, weathered every blow, didn't plead for cover, didn't curse the rain. You stood there like a tree, knowing its roots, born to take the strain. Strongest ain't the ones that collapse in the storm, it's the ones that are the roof above. When the world fell quiet after the thunder died, you didn't need pity, you didn't need love. Now whether the sky bleeds sun or snow, you don't break, don't shake, don't fall, 'cause you learned the truth most never see. You were the shelter after all. And if the storms return, let them roar, let them tear, you'll stand unfazed in the flood. 'Cause a man who can hold himself is a man carved into steel and blood. You became your own shelter, and that's what set you free. on a cold September. Old clock ticking like a tired old horse. I sat alone in that attic room where dust stands slow to the wind's remorse. The phone lit up your name in white, like a ghost tap dancing on my grave. You wrote, do you still hate me? Hell, that line could wake the dead I gave. Camera tight on my hand, no tremble, just a thumb hovering over reply. Eyes come a little warning, weathered like a man that finally ran out of wire. I stared at the message like a mirror on fire. Saw the boy I was, saw the ash I became, and I whispered, Lord, don't let me lie. Let whatever's dead stay without shame. So I forgave the ghost, let her walk away. Didn't drag her name through mud or flame. Didn't ask why, didn't spit in the past. Didn't need her sorrow or shame. Real power's quiet like a midnight breath. Truth you speak without an audience. I wrote, I ain't living in your shadow no more, and hit send like a man confident. Years ago in that sunburned summer, she left without a letter or sound. Just the scent of her on the bed sheets and a hollow echo in my chest wound. I used to pray, beg, curse her name, ask heaven why she ripped me apart. But faith ain't found in answers, it's forged in the furnace of a cracked heart. Flashed and now I took the locket she left, that rusted copper with her names half faded. Tied it to a weathered branch outside, let the wind decide how it should be graded. The wind whispered through it like a choir, let go, let go, let go. And I answered back real quiet, I already did long ago. Some ghosts don't haunt because they're cruel. They haunt cause you keep the door unlocked. But I turned the key on that old house of pain and left the past where it stopped. So I forgave the ghost, let her walk away. Didn't hunt her down or demand some truth. Didn't beg her to feel the weight I carry. Didn't need restitution for my youth. Real power's not shouting from the rooftops, it's letting go when no one sees. I wrote, I wish you peace, I wish you light. That was the end of the disease. Now I walk like a man made lighter by scars, with a heart that's weather but free. If love's a fire, I ain't afraid of burning, cause I already became what the flames couldn't need. I forgave the ghost and didn't need her to know. I forgave the ghost and that's how I let go. How I let go. Oh, I forgave the ghost. Oh, I forgave the ghost. Oh, I forgave the ghost. And that's how I let go. Sunrise found him at the edge of town, where the scrub grew mean and the dirt ran dry. Sky was copper wind full of dust, and you could hear the cattle gates creak when they sighed. He stood there still, boots by the trail, where the thorn bush wove like barbed wire snakes. Folks at the diner whispered he'll turn back, but he just cracked his knuckles like something had to break. Camera tight on his eyes, still under shade. Jaw fixed, scar running down his chin. He muttered low, no more easy road. Then he took that path like a man walking in. Every thorn bit deep like truth you can't deny. Tore the shirt, tore the skin, tore the pride. But pain's a language only real men learn. And he spoke it clean with every step inside. He walked through the thorns, let him drink his blood. Let him call this scripture in his heart. He wasn't running, wasn't begging for God, just meeting pain with open eyes. Cause a man ain't made by the wounds he fears, but the ones he chooses not to dodge. And the blood that dripped on that dusty trail didn't fall away, it's hardened into armor. Later that night, in the rusted barn, by a lantern light and a battered old cross, he rinsed the cuts in a 10-pail bath and counted each sting like a tally of cost. A woman leaned in, wild hair like smoke. She said, you ain't gotta prove your worth to me. He half smiled slow and shook his head. I ain't proving it to you, I'm proving it to me. He wrapped his arms in a strip of cloth, each knot a vow only the hurt could tie. Then he raised that cross to his brow and whispered, if redemption's coming, it ain't coming from the sky. Every cut turned quiet like a memory sealed, and the pain eased up like it understood. Some prayers are made with lips and breathe, and some are spoken only in blood. Whoa. He walked through the thorns, let him drink his blood. Let him bite through skin straight to the soul. He didn't wait for mercy or a preacher's word. He paid his dues in crimson toes. Cause a man ain't crowned by the soft road's ease, but by the scar that won't ever fade. Yeah, the blood he shed in that wild thorn maze didn't leak away, it turned into blaze. Now when storms roll in and the hard times out, he don't flinch, he was tempered in that pain. And if heaven's keeping score, the ones who rise, it'll carve his name in the book of the unafraid. Oh, he walked through the thorn, and didn't lose a thing. He walked through the thorn, and he came out made of steel. It was 2:15 in a one-star room, highway humming a busted AC, cheap lamp buzzing, TV snow on mute, blue light from the phone all over me, neon cross flicker red through the blinds, like God was blinking tired of my name. Them on the screen, all caps, all knives. Every little word, another match to the vein. One said you ain't nothing but a low-life clown. Road hope you choke on your own damn shame. Normally I kill the screen, shut it all down, but that night I just sat there and fed that flame. I let it crawl in my chest like gasoline. Every insole listen like a snake in the scene. Heartbeat hard on a cracked blue screen. Every word tasted like rust and drink. I stared myself down in that ghost-lit glass. Eyes red rimmed in nicotine smoke. I whispered, if it burns, let it burn my past. Then I took one breath like a final toast. And I swallowed the flame, let it ride my throat. Let the fire paint sermons on my bones. If hell had a choir, I was singing solo. Just me, my shame, and the ringing of the phone. They can't burn what already turned to ash. I chose that path, chose that pain. This ain't just hurt, it's a crooked mess. And my scars are the hymn and the smoke and the rain. Sun came up like a bruise on the sky. Ashtray full, Bible still closed on the floor. My voice was sharp, but my eyes felt dry, like I buried some ghosts behind my door. I grabbed that chain with the small steel cross, hung crooked on the Nelson's 09. Said, if you're there, Lord, you seen my loss. You seen me drown in that comment line. A wild little girl left a text last night. You're poison, baby, and you love the taste. She wasn't wrong, I've been kissing that fight, letting anger wrap hands round my waist. I lit one match, dropped it in the sink, watched the filter in the torn notes glow. Every word they wrote turned black like ink, curling up quiet as a guilty soul. Smoke climbed slow like a back road prayer. Tasted metal, tasted old. I didn't beg heaven to make it fair. I just said, don't let me ever forget. Cause I ain't clean, I am sane and white. I'm a man that danced with the devil I made. But if grace ever comes in the middle of the night, it comes dressed like fire in a cheap motel shade. Yeah. So I swallowed the flame, let it mark my throat. Let the heat carve verses in my bones. If judgment's a gun, I walk toward the scope, stare down the barrel and stood there alone. Hate can't burn what I already choose to die. I lay my old self on that motel floor. Pain ain't the enemy, it's the reason why I can walk through hell and not crawl anymore. Yeah, I swallowed the flame, let it change my name. Turned every curse into a crooked crown. I ain't asking for peace, just a heart of vein. So when the next fire comes, I don't bow down. And if heaven's listening through the static and smoke, it knows I ain't holy, but I ain't the same. I was baptized once in water and hope. Last night I got saved by swallowing the flame. It was after midnight in a half-lit bar. Old fan rattling like a worn-out prayer. Sat with my back against rough red brick, nursing a whiskey I didn't care to share. Camera close, the hand touched my shoulder. Soft voice dripping mercy I didn't ask for. She said, I'm sorry you're going through this. You deserve better, I'm sure. For a moment I felt that old instinct to fold in a comfort, to shrink to a side. But I straightened chose power over sympathy, and I ain't ever going back to weak.